such a massive shift that we can observe in the field of ufology, for lack of a better word, in recent months and years, that is really worth pointing out. And if you look at all these personalities, whether it's Jeremy Corbell, Ross Coulthart, Dr. Stephen Greer, Louis Elizondo, all these people that are nowadays big names in the world of UFO research, you can notice that they all shoot at each other, symbolically speaking, not literally. But, you know, this guy takes a jab at this guy, then that guy takes a jab at that guy, then he fires back. It's a little bit like wrestling. I like to compare it to wrestling, right? It's a lot of drama going on within the world of ufology, UFO research, and these personalities.
The Sneezing Monkey, UAP infighting drama explained, why Elizondo, Greer, Coulthart, Corbell fight like toddlers. I think for the most part he says that he thinks the ufology audience is small, and these guys are all big inside of that pond. And he doesn't see the ufology viewership expanding greatly, or any of these guys doing much to expand the audience. And so they fight with each other to try and take viewers from each other. You know, it's probably, I mean, it has to be true at some point. But he probably knows 42,000 subscribers. So he probably knows on the back end, you put any of those names that he just mentioned on anything, and it makes it through the algorithm. And that's not even like a criticism. It's just, you'd notice that immediately if you made a handful of videos and put them on YouTube. That if you made videos about those guys, that you would get, that YouTube would recommend your videos to people more, because those guys, because people are interested in those guys and they're searching for it. So I don't know. I don't even know if it matters if they're fighting. It just helps. It helps a little, just like anything else. It helps the numbers. So I don't usually see any of them, including Greer, Elizondo, Coulthart, and Corbell, directly going after anyone unprompted. It's almost 100%. Let's say it's like 80%. They're on other shows, newscasts, podcasts, whatever, and they're asked about it. They're like, hey, what do you think about Elizondo and his new book and what he said in front of Congress? And the person running that newscast or that podcast or whatever knows that when they post that video, it's gonna get the clicks, it's gonna get through the algorithm, it's gonna get recommended, it's gonna get shared. Sometimes Greer, I think, takes some kind of like unprompted shots, or it's in his syllabus, it's in his agenda for that day, for that interview, to make sure to tell everyone, because it's important to him that everyone knows that he's really close to Tom DeLonge, which then leads him to have to tell you, well, Tom DeLonge has actually been co-opted by the deep state, evil people like Elizondo. But this is actually one of the funnest parts of ufology. The infighting, the camps, and how they go after each other. The average Chris. Oh, who's the average Chris taking shots at to start with? Oh, this is versus disclosure meme. This is why people continuously call you out for being one of the most disingenuous people on this platform at Fettuccine Split. I think that's disclosure meme. And that's what's in his little video here. Disclosure meme saying we need more people like Elizondo and Grush. And he's saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. That opinion and post on its face is why people think you're a piece of shit. He says, no, you don't. No! They shot down mine saying, no, we don't. And you know why we don't? Let's go read it. It's right there. We don't. Neither one has said anything publicly that we did not already have openly discussed and documented in ufology for many decades, almost a century. But we actually needed some people to come out and say the things they're not allowed to say. Actually blow some fucking whistles, motherfuckers. There's been a lot of discussion about this. And there is some value to intelligence community insiders, government insiders, military insiders, who are also into UFOs and aliens, coming out and talking about stuff. Even if it's stuff we already know. So I'm not saying that's valueless. I'm just saying it's not as significant or as valuable as everyone else says it is. Grush, sitting there for an hour and a half, 3 hours, 8 hours, 20 hours, and just regurgitating Richard Dolan episodes for the last 20 years, is not whistleblowing. A whistleblower would be coming out and telling us where the fucking flying saucer's at. And then we go there and find it, and all hell breaks loose. That would be a whistle being blown. The Average Chris versus the UFO Joe Murgia. Poor UFO Joe has been waiting around for 30 years for the time this video is taken, thinking every year is getting disclosure from the government. And he's still waiting, and he's not looking good. Is Joe's response on here? There it is. Basically says, like I said in the video, I'm not holding my breath. I don't think it'll happen or not. I don't know if it'll happen or not. He still feels the same exact way. He doesn't know if it'll happen or not. He's not going to hold his breath. Basically, the only thing that's changed is he doesn't have this cool painting in the background. 26 years and 35 pounds lighter. No gray hair. We should probably get that picture, put it in the background. So the Average Chris just smacking out in all directions on the 26th of February. It's like Wednesday. Why was he talking shit? I don't remember. Oh, I mean, he's just... Because Joe responded on that same thread saying, yeah, we're waiting for disclosure. And so he came right back and said, yeah, you sure are. You've been waiting 30 years. Every day, every year. You go on podcasts saying, I hope this is the year. Oh, we got Ross fuckum Coulthart versus Mick Flex West. It's a tiny spat. Don't usually see these two interacting very much. So Ross says, hey, somebody forgot to tell Wyoming that the drones flying around are authorized research drones. And they want to know why those authorized research drones chased them around. And Mick wasn't the only person. We're talking about the police department, the sheriff department, and none of them None of the dudes, none of the vehicles, none of the equipment packs, nobody has a device to take video with or the wherewithal to do it, even if it's crappy video. But I mean, we're talking about the sheriff's department of Wyoming. They ain't got some good cameras they could point at the things chasing them and take some pictures. In this discussion that ends up happening, I mean, I basically say it over and over to people. I kind of think it actually calls into question their testimony. It might not be truthful if they didn't include at least a crappy video. And that might not be enough to say that their witness testimony is any good. Like, if it's not good video, I don't know. I don't even know why we're talking about it, honestly. And so Mick West and Ross Coulthart go through that same thing. Says, no, there's no mystery drones. You're just repeating baseless nonsense. Be a journalist. Ross Coulthart comes back and says, I am being a journalist. Feelings are kind of hurt. They both go on to repost each other's quotes for a couple hours that day. Greenewald versus Marik. And this is like the Black Vault, John Greenewald firing the shots first. Marik's got a post somewhere, I'm sure he quotes it, saying that, look, Arrow's got a organizational chart that says they have a person whose whole job is to deal with FOIA requests. UAP FOIA requests. Which is what Arrow's job is UAPs, right? So, Greenewald is saying, well, look, this is kind of like your standard angle of attack out of Marik. Take something a little bit out of context, call it unprecedented, milk that fucker for 2 or 3 days on X. That's what he says on that. He says you're being inaccurate, you're twisting, you're spinning. Of course, probably every government agency, all 500 plus of them, has at least one person whose full-time job is to deal with FOIA requests. Maybe not just UAP. Pretty sure John makes the point in here that probably Arrow should have more than one person. A bunch of people jump in on this, including O.S.I.R.I.S. He's mostly just making fun of Marik for saying unprecedented. And then here's a video compilation of Marik using the word unprecedented all the damn day. Secret Corp brings it home. Called this one Secret Corp versus All. It is kind of versus all. The meme itself is working, and then he drops on top of the pivot into consciousness was calculated. This is kind of an argument on UFO Twitter about everyone's talking about consciousness, quote unquote. And so the people who aren't are saying that the people are coordinating that discussion, and that matters for some reason. Kind of my take on quote unquote consciousness topic is that kind of all the ufologists eventually end up talking about the significance of consciousness. But they don't usually go any deeper than that statement. Consciousness is important. Bob Lazar says the aliens say that we're containers. ... Consciousness discussion kind of expands into the recent focus on psionics, which is just a recent refocus. Ufology's been talking about psionics. Sci-fi has been talking about psionics. Dungeons and Dragons been talking about psionics for many, many, many decades. It doesn't really slap in either direction, but both sides are trying to slap with it, right?